Hello my dear students, once again welcome to Parvatibai Genbamuje College of Engineering Vagoli. I am Professor Chaitali Himne, your subject in charge of Building Technology and Architectural Planning subject. In previous lecture we discussed about the necessity of the National Building Code or necessity of the building rules and bylaws. Also we discussed about the requirements of the sites, we discussed about the residential zones, industrial zones, commercial zones. Okay. In now today's lecture we will discuss about what is the means of access, what is the open spaces and marginal distance, what are the open spaces for residential building in that front, rear, side, interior, ventilation, outer country yard. Okay. So we will discuss it one by one. First topic is means of access. Okay. So what is the means of access? You know that every building should provide a mean of access in the form of a clear way which is not less than the 3.6 meter in width up to the 3 storied and 5 meter beyond 3 storied from a street to the entrance door. Okay. That means what? That every building should provide a means of access. It depends upon the story of the building. If there is a 3 storied building, then the main clearway or the main entrance clearway is not less than 3.6 meter, whereas if there is more than 3-story building, then the clearway is not less than 5 meter. Okay, that is street to the entrance door. Also in means of access, the width of the means of access for residential building, you know the residential plots from front should on public means of access like street, roads. The plots which front not on a street, road should about or front on a mean of access, the width and the length requirement which should be given in this table. So what is the means of access? If the width of the mean of access is 6 meter, the length of the mean of access should be 75 meter. If there is 7.5 meter, then the length of mean of access is 150 meter. If the width of the mean of access is 9 meter, then the length is 250. Likewise, if there is a width is 12 meter, then the length 400. If width is 18 meter, length is 1000 meter. If the width is 24 meter, then the length is more than 1000. Okay. But note that if the development is only on one side of the mean of axis, the prescribed width may be reduced by 1 meter in each case. Okay. And in no case development on a plot shall be permitted unless it is accessible by a public street of width not less than 6 meter. See, प्रत्येकाने लक्ष द्या, means of access म्हणजे काय? तर मीन्स ऑफ ॲक्सेस म्हणजे काय की इट इज द स्टोरी फ्रॉम द स्ट्रीट टू द एंट्रन्स डोर. ओके, म्हणजे रोडपासून ते आपल्या डोरपर्यंतचा जो विड्थ एरिया असेल किंवा क्लिअर वे असेल त्याला बोलतात मीन्स ऑफ ॲक्सेस. आता तो रेसिडेन्शियल बिल्डिंगमध्ये, पब्लिक बिल्डिंगमध्ये, पाथवेमध्ये, हायवेजमध्ये सगळ्या ठिकाणी तो वेगवेगळा असू शकतो. ओके, सो रेसिडेन्शियल बिल्डिंगमध्ये काय आहे, तर रेसिडेन्शियल बिल्डिंगमध्ये जर का स्ट्रीट रोड किंवा रोड शूट इट इज फ्रॉम फ्रंट ऑन द मेन ऑफ ॲक्सिस. मेन ऑफ ॲक्सिस जर का फ्रंटने असेल तर विड्थ अँड लेंथ रिक्वायरमेंट कशी चेंज होते, तर आपण पाहिले तर विड्थ जर का 6 मीटर असेल तर लेंथ 75 मीटर पाहिजे. लाईकवाईज. ओके, everyone understood? Okay, so next is the other buildings. What is the mean of access for other buildings? For industrial buildings, theaters, cinema halls or cinema houses, assembly halls, stadiums, educational buildings, markets or other buildings which attract the large crowd, the means of access shall not be less than the following. See, this is a table. जे जास्त क्राऊड जिथं अट्रॅक्ट होतो सिनेमा हॉल्समध्ये, मार्केट्समध्ये, असेंब्ली हॉल्समध्ये, स्टेडियममध्ये, एज्युकेशनल बिल्डिंगमध्ये, तिकडे मीन्स ऑफ ॲक्सेस काय पाहिजे, तर सी the width of mean of access, if suppose there is a 2 meter, then the length is 200 meter. Okay, if the width is 15 meter, length is 400 meter. If the width is 18 meter, the length is 600 meter. If the length is 24 meter, sorry, if the width is 24 meter, then the length is above 600 meter. Okay, likewise. In no case if the mean of access to be less in width than the internal layout and subdivisions. Okay, understood that the residential building mean of access and the other buildings mean of access. The next is pathway. So what is the pathway? Pathway means what? The approach to the building from road or street or the internal means of access should be through the paved pathways of width not less than 1.5 meter, provided its length is not more than the 20 meter. Okay, that means the width should not be less than 1.5 meter and the length is not more than 20 meter from the main or the internal mean of access. Okay. If there is provided, then there is a minimum set back of the 2 meter between the edge of the pathway and front wall of the building. Okay. That means what? इफ रोड ऑफ द पाथवे म्हणजे काय, थोडक्यात एक वॉकवे म्हणतो आपण त्याला, की जिथून माणसं चालत जातात किंवा हे करतात, ओके, वॉकिंग करतात, त्याला बोलतात पाथवे. तर पाथवेचं काय आहे मेन रूल, की पाथवेची विड्थ आहे ना ही 1.5 मीटरपेक्षा लेस नाही पाहिजे. आणि जर का 1.5 मीटरपेक्षा लेस नसेल तर त्याची लेंथ पण आहे ना ती 20 मीटरपेक्षा जास्त नाही पाहिजे. ओके. अँड इफ जर का 20 मीटरपेक्षा जास्त असेल तर त्याच्यामध्ये दोन डिवायडेशन्स पाहिजेत. दॅट इज मिनिमम सेट बॅक ऑफ 2 मीटर बिटवीन द एज ऑफ द पाथवे. ओके. Also there is another thing, the length of the main mean of access should be determined by the distance from the plot, that means from the building to the public street. The length of the subsidiary access way shall be measured from point of its origin to the next wider road on which it meets. Okay, see, in Gauthan areas, in the case of plot which is facing street means of access less than 4.5 meter in width, the plot boundary shall be shifted to 2.25 meter from center line of the mean of access away to give the rise to a new street or a means of access which is way width of 4.5 meter. म्हणजे काय, गावठाण एरियात जे असते, गावातले एरियाज वगैरे असतात, तिथं जर का प्लॉट जर का फेसिंग स्ट्रीट, प्लॉटची जर का फेसिंग स्ट्रीट असेल किंवा समोरची स्ट्रीट असेल, त्याचा ॲक्सेस विच शुड नॉट बी लेस देन द 4.5 मीटर. Okay, so where we are, in Gauthan areas, okay, in Gauthan areas, in case of the plot which is facing the street, म्हणजे जर का प्लॉट हा स्ट्रीटच्या फेसिंगला असेल अँड द मीन्स ऑफ ॲक्सेस म्हणजे त्या पाथवेपासून तर त्याचा डोरपर्यंतचा ॲक्सेस इज लेस दॅन 4.5 मीटर इन विड्थ, म्हणजे जर का तो 4.5 मीटर लेस असेल अँड मग काय करायचं असतं, तर प्लॉट बाउंड्री ना शिफ्ट करायची, किती येणे 2.25 मीटरनी ती आतमध्ये शिफ्ट करायची सेंटर लाईनपासून, की ज्याच्यामुळे जो स्ट्रीट जो आहे न्यू स्ट्रीट तो जास्त राईज भेटेल त्याला. ओके, दॅट इज द रूल ऑफ द गावठण एरिया स्ट्रीट. Okay, so the next is access from the highways or important roads. So what is the mean of access for the highways and important roads? If no premises other than the highway amenities like petrol pumps, hotels, etc. will have an access direct from the highway, and such provision of the State Highway Acts 1955 and National Highway Act, that is 1958, which is provide that in suitable cases the planning authority may suspend the operation of this rule till service roads are provided. बघा म्हणजे काय, तर हायवे आणि इम्पॉर्टंट रोडपासूनचा ॲक्सेसबद्दल काय आहे, तर जे काही पेट्रोल्स असतील, हॉटेल्स असतील, ते डायरेक्टली हायवेपासून ॲक्सेस गेलेलं नाही पाहिजे, त्याला एक सर्व्हिस रोड प्रोव्हाइड केलेला पाहिजे. आणि आफ्टर सर्व्हिस रोड ते पेट्रोल पंप्स और द हॉटेल्स पाहिजे. हा रूल कधी आला आहे, तर हा रूल आहे स्टेट हायवेज ॲक्ट 1955. त्या रूलनुसार की तुमचं हायवे ॲम्युनिटीज लाईक पेट्रोल पंप्स आणि हॉटेल्स ना विल हॅव ॲन ॲक्सेस डायरेक्ट फ्रॉम द हायवे विल. ओके, नो परमायसेस अदर दॅन द हायवे ॲम्युनिटीज. ओके, त्याला एक सर्व्हिस रोड प्रोव्हाइड केलेला पाहिजे. दिस इज द रूल ऑफ द ॲक्सेस और द मीन ऑफ ॲक्सेस फ्रॉम हायवे और इम्पॉर्टंट रोड्स. So next part is open spaces or the marginal distance. See, there is a rule of open space around the building. If the open space inside and outside of a building have essentially to cater for ventilation and lighting requirements. We all know that why open space is needed, for the ventilations and the lighting requirements. If in case of the building which is abutting on the street or the roads in front, rear or sides, the open spaces are provided for the future widening of the such streets. Okay, फ्युचर वायडनिंग म्हणजे रोड वायडनिंगसाठी वगैरे आपल्याला सर्व साईडनी म्हणजे फ्रंट रिअर आणि बॅक मार्जिन आपल्याला फ्रंट रिअर आणि साईड मार्जिन आपल्याला ठेवावं लागतं. तर त्याचे पण काही रूल्स आहेत. तर व्हॉट इज दॅट रूल्स? If the open space for front, rear and side yards which is depend upon the height of the building and can be calculated by the formula. There is one formula regarding the width of the open space, that is 3 plus in bracket h upon 10. H means the height of the building less than 25 meter. Okay, h by 10 upon 3. That this is the formula for width of the open space. Okay, you can see here this is a building. Side yard, rear yard, front yard. Rear yard means the back side of the plot or back side of the building. Okay. So there are the lots of open spaces or marginal distance. In residential building there is front open space, rear open space, side open space, interior open space. In interior open space there is an interior courtyard, ventilation shaft and outer courtyard. Okay. Then second is if there is other buildings, that is public building or theatres or educational building. That means in other buildings there is assembly building, business, mercantile, storage building, industrial building, hazardous building, educational institutional building. In these buildings open spaces are different. Okay. So we will discuss it one by one. The first one is the residential building. So in residential building, front open space. Okay. For front open space, every building is fronting a street should have front space forming an integral part of the site. So what is the integral part of the site? If the width, here is a table, if the width of the street is fronting the plot, म्हणजे प्लॉटच्या फ्रंटला width of the street जर का अप टू 7.5 मीटर असेल तर फ्रंट ओपन स्पेस आपल्याला 1.5 मीटर मिनिमम सोडावा लागतो. जर का width of the street fronting plot असेल 7.5 to 18 मीटर, then the front open space we should be kept provided that is 3 meter. If the width of the street is 18 to 30 meter, then the front space we have to covering a distance or we have to center line पासून back side distance आपल्याला 4.5 meter सोडावा लागतो. And if there is above 30 meter width of the street fronting the plot, then the front open space we should be kept provided at 6 meter. Okay. If the for street less than 7.5 meter in width, the distance of the building or the building line shall be at least 5 meter from the center line of the street. The center line पासून 5 meter distance वरती जर का 7.5 meter width पेक्षा कमी street असेल तर ते सोडावं लागतं. ओके, सेंटर पासून. आणि हे जे डिस्टन्स आहे फ्रंट ओपन स्पेस इट इज इन बिटवीन द सेंटर ऑफ द रूट. ओके. The next is rear open space. So what is the rear open space? Every building of the height which is less than the 10 meter have a rear open space of an average width of 3 meter, but in no case measuring less than 1.8 meter, which is except back to back building. The clear margin should be average of 3 meter. If there is a corner plot, okay, if there is a corner plot which is less than the 300 meter square in area, the rear open space should be 2.5 meter minimum. Okay. In next cases, this is called as a rear open space. Rear means back side open space. बघा, जर का हाईट लेस दॅन 10 मीटर असेल तर रिअर ओपन स्पेसची विड्थ ॲव्हरेज विड्थ 3 मीटर असेल. 3 मीटर असेल तर ते 1.8 मीटरपेक्षा जास्त कमी नको. ओके. आणि जर का कॉर्नर प्लॉट असेल तर त्याचा रिअर डिस्टन्स 2.4 मीटर मिनिमम तरी पाहिजे. ओके. दॅट इज द सेकंड इज रिअर ओपन स्पेस. देन थर्ड इज द साईड ओपन स्पेस. What is this side open space? See, every semi-detached and detached buildings will have a permanently open air space which is forming an integral part of the site. Okay, which is as below. Suppose there is a detached or for a detached building, there will be a minimum site open space of 3 meter on both the sides. Both the sides for detached building, it should be 3 meter open space area. For semi-detached building, there will be a minimum side open space of 3 meter on one side. Okay. And if there is a row type building, there is a no side open space is required. But note that if all clauses are applicable for the residential building up to the 10 meter. Okay. For the building of height above 10 meter, the open space, that is the side and rear, shall be as given in this table. So we can see. we can see if this is the height of the building, this is the height of the building, and this is the side and rear open space. Okay, if there is a 10-meter height of the building, then the side and rear open space should be 3 meter. If there is a 15-meter, then the side and rear open space is 5 meter. If there is 18, then the 6, 21, 7, 24, 8, 27, 9, 30, 10, 35 height of the building, 35-meter height of the building, then the side and rear space is 11. If there is a 40 height of the building, then the open space is rear and side is 12. If there is 45 meter height of the building, then the rear and side open space is 13 meter. And if there is a 50 meter height of the building, then the open spaces to the left around the building or side and rear is 14 meter. Okay. The next is, but before that, note that for building about 24 meter in height, there shall be a minimum front open space of 6 meter. See carefully, जर का बिल्डिंगची हाईट 24 मीटरपेक्षा जास्त असेल तर त्याचा मिनिमम फ्रंट ओपन स्पेस हा आपल्याला 6 मीटर सोडावा लागतो. दिस इज अ रूल. ओके. Okay, so next in residential building, the next open space is interior open space. In interior open space, there is a interior courtyard, ventilation shaft, outer courtyard. In outer courtyard, there is other buildings, educational buildings, assembly buildings, business, storage, and industrial building. Okay. So in interior courtyard, in case the wall one side of every room excepting the bath, WC, and storeroom is not abutting on either the front and the rear side, it will be about an inner courtyard whose minimum width will be 3 meter. If the further the inner courtyard must have an area throughout its height not less than the square of 1/5 height of the wall abutting the courtyard. See, इंटेरियर कटयार्ड म्हणजे काय बघा, जर का होल वन साइड ऑफ एव्हरी रूम म्हणजे प्रत्येक रूमची वन साइडेड बघितली, त्याच्यामध्ये बाथ, WC इन्क्लूड किंवा स्टोर रूम इन्क्लूड न करता त्याचं फ्रंट अँड रिअर साइड ऑफ द इनर कटयार्ड त्याची मिनिमम वेट किती पाहिजे, 3 मीटर पाहिजे. ओके. ओके, that is the interior courtyard. Second, ventilation shaft. See, you can see here, this is the height of the building, size of the ventilation shaft, and minimum 1 dimension of the shaft. Ventilation shaft म्हणजे काय, when only water closet bathrooms are abutting on the interior courtyard, the size of interior courtyard depend on the ventilation shaft. बघा, फक्त वॉटर क्लोजेट किंवा म्हणजे WC अँड द बाथरूम जर का इंटेरियर कटयार्डमध्ये असेल, द साईज ऑफ द इंटेरियर कटयार्ड इट इज डिपेंड अपॉन द व्हेंटिलेशन. तर व्हेंटिलेशन किती पाहिजे जर का बाथरूम अँड WC जर का इंटेरियर कटयार्डमध्ये त्या एरियामध्ये असेल तर. बघा इथे लिहिले हाईट ऑफ द बिल्डिंग अप टू 10 मीटर हाईट असेल तर साईज ऑफ द व्हेंटिलेशन शाफ्ट इन मीटर स्क्वेअरमध्ये 1.2 मीटर पाहिजे आणि मिनिमम डायमेन्शन किती पाहिजे शाफ्टचं 0.9. ॲज वेल ॲज इन 12 मीटर हाईट इट शुड बी 2.8 मीटर स्क्वेअर साईज ऑफ द व्हेंटिलेशन शाफ्ट and minimum 1 dimension of the shaft is 1.2 meter. Okay. In 80 meter height of the building, size of the ventilation shaft should be 4 meter square and the minimum 1 dimension is 1.5 meter. Okay. Likewise, the 24 meter height of the building, size of the ventilation shaft is 5.4 and the minimum 1 dimension shaft is 1.8. If there is height of the building is 30 meter, then the size of ventilation shaft should be 8 meter and the minimum 1 dimension of the shaft is 2.5 meter. And if the height of the building is above 30 meter, the size of the ventilation shaft should be 9 meter square and the minimum 1 dimension of the shaft is 3. Okay. The next is that is called as the interior open space or the interior courtyard ventilation shaft. But in outer courtyard, see, there is one thing I forgot to tell you, that if there is a height above 30 meter of the building, then the mechanical ventilation system shall be installed, because for the 30 meter building there is no manual installation is possible. So that's why the mechanical ventilation system shall be installed. Okay. So the outer courtyard, the minimum width of the outer courtyard shall be not less than 2.4 meter. Okay. Like other buildings, the open space for the other buildings, if there is educational building, educational and institutional building, that the except for nursery school, the open space around the building should not be less than 6 meter. For educational building, the open space should not be less than the 6 meter. If there is assembly building, then the assembly buildings front space or the front open space should not be less than the 12 meter, whereas in other open space, okay, should not be less than the 6 meter. Okay, that is called as assembly buildings. The third part is the business, mercantile and the storage building. The open space which is around the building should not be less than the 4.5 meter for the business, mercantile and the storage building. Where they occur in a purely residential zone or in a residential with the shop line zone, the open space may be relaxed. Okay, for the industrial building, the open spaces around the building should not be less than the 4.5 meter for the height up to 16 meter, and with an increase to open spaces of 0.25 meter for every increase of 1 meter. Okay, see, it's an important point आहे. For industrial building, इंडस्ट्रियल बिल्डिंगचं ओपन स्पेस अराउंड द बिल्डिंग हा 4.5 मीटरपेक्षा लेस नाही पाहिजे. कुठपर्यंत जर का 16 मीटरची हाईट असेल तर ते 4.5 मीटरपेक्षा लेस नाही पाहिजे ओपन स्पेसेस. जर का 1 मीटरने हाईट वाढली, सपोज 16 मीटर आहे, जर 1 मीटरने हाईट वाढली तर ओपन स्पेस पण 0.25 मीटरनी वाढत जाणार इन इंडस्ट्रियल बिल्डिंग. ओके, द लास्ट वन इज द हजार्डस बिल्डिंग. इन हजार्डस बिल्डिंग, the open space around the building should be specified for industrial buildings. Okay, hazardous buildings means the buildings where the chemicals are provided or the chemical factory, exposure factory. Okay. Okay, now we will stop here. In today's lecture we discuss about the residential building open space, other buildings open space, rules of open spaces, what is the interior courtyard, ventilation shaft, means of access, okay, their width and the length of mean of access. In next lecture we will discuss about the next topic, that is the height regulations, height of the buildings. Okay, if you have any doubt regarding this lecture, you can ask me on YouTube channel or you can directly ask me on Google Classroom also. Okay, have a good day. Mark your attendance on the comment box of YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Have a great day.